Okay, this is video 3 part 2. I had a knock on the door that I had to answer, but we were talking about measurements and the square footage. You know, it's a real easy measurement to take off of your plan. So when you have a plan you're actually measuring from, you use a scale, and we'll have a little bit of before we start measuring, we'll have a little bit of a tutorial on how to use a scale. But you've got a scaled drawing, you use a scale, and it's called measurement takeoffs. So you take off the measurement, and square footage can be used for area. So sometimes it's an area that you're going to sod. Sometimes it's an area you can use for fertilizing. You know, you can areas of hardscape, you know, flagstone. And then you have to translate that into how you actually buy your materials. So say you were going to have a flagstone patio, you could take off the square footage that you're going to need, but flagstone is sold in tons. So what then you have to do is, Minnick Materials is a great resource to look at. Say if you were going to buy some flagstone from them, on their website they'll show you for each product what the coverage is. So you may have a ton of flagstone will cover 80 square feet, which is pretty typical. So, but they'll let you know. So then you can translate, okay, I've measured this many square feet, so that means I need this many tons of flagstone for that same coverage. You can also use your square footage measurements to then calculate volume. So volume is used for concrete, gravel, mulches, topsoil, lots of things, that anything that's sold in a cubic yard or a cubic foot. So say you're trying to figure mulch, so you may have 400 square feet in an area, and it's going to be 3 feet deep in mulch. So you have to multiply area times depth, and it's got to be the same unit. So if you're using square feet, you need depth in feet. So you can't say, okay, I got 400 square feet times 3 inches, because then your total won't be, it won't be feet, it won't be inches, it'll be something else. It'll be something you can't measure. So say you've got 400 square feet and you want to go 3 inches deep, it would be 400 times 0.25, because 3 inches is 0.25 of a foot. So 400 times 0.25, that would be 100. So you would have 100 cubic feet of mulch. And so if you're buying mulch in bags, you know, sometimes it's 2 cubic feet, sometimes 3, depending on the bags you're getting. So say you're buying bags of 3 cubic feet, 33 of those would be 99 cubic feet. So, you know, you'd probably get 35 or more, you know, add a little for loss. But so you can then make it fit the way that you're buying the product. If you're buying bulk mulch in cubic yards, then you need to take your cubic feet, divide by 27, and that'll get you cubic yards. So it goes with how you're actually running the project. If it's more convenient to your project to have mulch in bags, then figure it that way. You can carry them around, they're easy to load. But if it's a huge job and it's so much cheaper to buy bulk mulch, you can buy it in bulk, buy the cubic yard in truckloads and truckloads. But then you have equipment costs, because you're probably going to need a skid steer to haul it around, and then there's hauling costs, and you're going to have a place to dump it. So it kind of gets into job management at that point. So we've got cubic feet, cubic yards. Linear feet is just a measurement of length. So edging, you know, is a pretty typical linear foot measurement. And then you got to go with the unit of how it's sold, because, you know, you've got edging comes in 8-foot sections. So if you have something that doesn't quite come out to 8, you're going to have some cutoffs, and you just have to make sure you know how many actual pieces are necessary. Another thing that you see in bids a lot is EA, which is each. So this is meant as a quantifier for something that's sold just individually, like trees. So if you had, like, we're going to look at a bid worksheet in a little while, where you have trees. So you'll have a description of the product, which is, say, 3.5-inch caliper Shumard oak, ball and burlap. That's your description. Your quantity may be like 30, and then your unit is each, because they are priced per unit, just each. And then you would have a unit cost. So say it's $500. So you'd take the quantity times the unit cost. So with each, they're just being priced individually. LS is, LS is lump sum. So that would be for something that you don't want to break into parts. Things like sometimes a sculpture or a water feature. Well, a sculpture with setting could be a lump sum, but just the material itself would be each. But say kind of a standard price for water feature. That if you build this water feature, the stone, the liner, the excavation, the pumping, the plumbing, the drainage, the electricity, just as a unit, that it costs about, or it does cost, say, $20,000 to do a water feature, then you could actually include that as a lump sum price in your bid, because the client would not be adding or subtracting pieces of that water feature. So you can bid that as a lump sum. The things that you're quantifying also are easily changeable. Like if you reduce the amount of trees, or if you add square footage of mulch or something like that. So something with a water feature that, like, you can't change the elements of it, it comes as a piece, it's okay to bid that as a lump sum price. And remember, a markup, after we're finished with our actual direct cost, markup is a percentage that's marked up from a subtotal. Margin is a percentage based on a percentage of the total.